Three, two, one.
I guess it's all on me, right?
It is.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
And if I run out of time, we'll just get the dark matter.
If I call for a point of order. Right? Then maybe.
Yeah. So I get
Move to stricken his comments from the record. Second.
I don't know. It depends.
Go ahead. I can't wait. You're about to do 5 years worth.
No. I'm just going to do the last. Well, I mean, we will encapsulate a little bit of that. But
all right, go ahead. Star Trek Discovery ended.
Yeah, like
good,
forever.
Bad, indifferent.
Sort of indifferent about it. I think.
Oh, is that an indictment on the show as a whole?
No. So the problem with this last season was they didn't know it was going to be the last season.
Oh, that's the fucking worst.
Yeah. So they ended up after the season had wrapped, then Paramount decides that they're not going to do Discovery anymore. Which it's a price thing, and I got a whole other thing about that. But
were they able to go back in and tie up loose ends?
Yeah, so they had to go back in and shoot some extra stuff.
Okay,
to
all right.
to sort of wrap it up, which of course is never going to be enough.
Nope. Especially when you don't have the whole season to.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have like that last episode to go. Oh, here's where all the key characters are at. Have that nice little 1980s end of the year montage.
Exactly, because people don't realize that. Well, never. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, this whole segment we can riff, but
I was going to say is a lot of series wraps. All the action and shit happens in the episode before the final. There's
exactly.
Word for it, but
yeah,
I can't say.
Yeah. So in this one, it's followed the last 4 seasons of they've. Well, let me start with this. So the problem that Discovery got caught in was the writers on that show decided every season was going to have the same formula. Whereas there's going to be this big problem, and then you were going to work through the different stages of the problem, getting to what the culminating big issue was. Then you're going to find the solution, and then everything was going to, sort of wrap up on its own. And I mean, season 2.
I like that how they work through it like scientists would.
Well, I'd say, and I'm trying to remember exactly. So season 2 was the Red Angel season. So they see this person in a mechanical suit that glows red, and then they have to investigate it across the galaxy. So each episode is each stop where the Red Angel has been seen, and then you get the
sounds like a Mass Effect game.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean it's very video game kind of storyline, but it's
funny how modern TV, especially sci-fi, and fantasy, is gone. Not just adapting video games, but going with the way video game stories are told.
Right. So, season 2 was great because it was they're doing something.
They're literally planet jumping.
Yeah, and they're doing something kind of completely different that they haven't done on Star Trek. First season, it was not only world building, but they also brought in the mirror universe at some point.
They did that. From the jump?
Yeah, exactly. So it was oh fuck, this is gonna be great. And then season 2, they do world jumping, and it was that's really cool. And then there was they addressed a lot of the murmurs in the Star Trek fandom of how do they have this such technologically advanced ship and we've never heard about it. They addressed that at season 2 where they jump into the future, and then season 3 is that they're now in the distant future. So past all the other Star Trek series, and they have to deal with what is called the burn, which is
I hope it's a black hole.
No, this is where I'm going to get really dorky. So
perfect. I'm here for it.
So the Starship warp engines operate off of dilithium crystals. So the burn is there was this galaxy-wide event that burned up all the dilithium crystals. Yes. So all the warp capable cultures now couldn't have warp drive.
It's the spice from
Right,
Arrakis.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And I even think at one point in there somebody refers to it as like, oh, that's the spice that you needed to go. So
spice.
But it was the same thing as season 2. So like they're going around, controls.
Yeah,
exactly. So they're in a race to figure out if they can figure out what caused the burn and then stop it, then they will be able to recreate dilithium crystals.
So there was whoever a big bang to the burn?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And so they're investigating what caused it, and then when they figure out, and then it becomes clear, episode 5, if they figure out if they can stop what caused the burn, then they can go back and use dilithium crystals again, or like be able to regenerate them. And so it becomes this like investigation, moving from different planet to planet, and now the future galaxy, to then do that. I would understand if you sort of zone out.
No, I'm not.
Right. And so again, it's one of those of like, okay, like it's a different take on like the season 2 overall kind of theme, but.
And, they went a different way with the investigative route, if that's kind of what they were doing, even though they were doing with the planet.
And we're in the future, so now we get to see what these worlds that are... So they come back and they're using... in the Prime... It's in the Prime Star Trek universe, not in the J.J. Abrams Kelvin timeline.
That's always...
So, but like in this one, the...
do they revisit places they've been before so you can actually see the... Okay.
So like the Klingons and the Romulans, who actually have a common ancestry, end up actually like cohabitating again. And really? So now there's like
this war ends.
Right. And
eternal war, now they're coexisting again.
Right. And there's all these references to like the Dominion War that was in Deep Space Nine, that was like the Cardassians versus the Federation, in which like
not Kim Kardashian.
No,
none of those.
No, these were like reptilian people. But
although we could be speaking about the same people. If they're reptiles.
Exactly.
They're skinwalkers.
So,
go ahead.
And then
O.J. Simpson's responsible for those skinwalkers, by the way.
Well, a sex tape is responsible for most of it.
Man, if he doesn't get drafted by Buffalo, he doesn't meet them. He doesn't meet Nicole. He doesn't murder her. Yeah. It's all about being drafted to Buffalo.
I get, yeah.
And then, and then what happened?
Yeah, that's a different rabbit hole.
Yep.
So then season 4, there is.
So they figured out the burn.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it? I'm just curious. Please tell me it was like a solar flare or something.
No, it was a. So they introduced a new race, Kelpians, which is the guy Doug Jones, who's in all of Guillermo del Toro's movies.
You don't need to say anything else. I know.
Abe Sapien. So he's a Kelpian, and they were like an enslaved race by like these like machine people, and then he leads his people to realize like, oh, they don't actually like die off at an early age. They actually they're being they were manipulated into thinking that so that the master race could control them.
Yeah.
But what they didn't realize was that when they hit puberty, they evolve into the predatory species. So it was like
the slaves turn into the
so the subspecies before realize if they convince the dominant species that they're dying, and then they do this ritual suicide when they hit this point, then they can stay on top of the food chain. And then he figures it out for them. So
manipulated that.
Yeah,
great.
But then they find out it's like a Kelpian who is been entrapped
on the sea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me too. But then so they find out it was this Kelpian who was imprisoned in this science station, who also had like psychic and empathetic abilities, like the Betazoids and stuff like that.
This is the last season, right?
No. This is season 3.
Oh my God. Okay.
Right. So season 4 it starts off. There's an attack on one of the new characters' home planet, which they have
not a Kelpian.
No, this was I forget. Oh,
You don't have to go into the minutia. I just
no,
like
but so
questions.
but so his one of the new characters that they introduced, which is Captain Burnham's love interest. His home planet is destroyed by this alien race, and then it becomes trying to figure out why the alien race destroyed his home planet, and he goes off and becomes rogue and works with another scientist about trying to destroy this alien race.
And they know what the alien race is. They're just trying to figure out.
No, they don't. They don't know any of that.
They're doing who, what, when, and why.
So then it becomes, at the very end, they find out it's this alien race that thinks that they're being invaded, and so they're attacking back. And the court,
yes, a fucking delusional race.
And so
that sounds
and
like
in the
Americans.
end, they have to show that the Federation and human beings are capable of love, and that's what ends the war.
That is false.
So
I like the fact that
but you see the pattern.
No, I definitely
every season.
Yep.
So this last season, it kicks off with. It actually is a throwback to Star Trek TNG, to one of the episodes where Picard has to take the Enterprise on a treasure hunt, and they find what are called the progenitors, which are or in this case would go to similar to Prometheus, the builder race.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Go ahead.
So this
creator,
is this is the Star Trek version. So they're these they're the first quote unquote humanoids, and they spread their DNA out around the galaxy that creates all the different races that the Federation is involved in. So Discovery picks up with that, in which
so they were literally. Go ahead. Got it.
So again, that's why I made the Prometheus reference. Like
that, and right then
they
I
plant
went, okay,
DNA.
got it.
Yeah,
I just trying to figure out what their names were, but.
Well, so yeah, so in this one though, what they're investigating is that apparently the Federation found the technology that those people use to build life around the various different galaxies, and
they could have just gone back to search for Spock.
Well, we're not talking
Genesis.
about the we're not talking about the Genesis project, but this this would be like the OG Genesis.
Oh, this is the evolved Genesis. Got it.
So, but then there's the idea of there's a competing group, which is two smugglers who eventually start working with one of. It's amazing I'm running out of time.
No, you are. You got a minute left, and LSU lost. Go ahead.
So. But anyway, so it's the investigation of trying to find the different little puzzle pieces that tell them where the progenitor technology is. And the race is against, first it's these two smugglers who are going to try and use it to clear the bounty on their heads by selling it to the Breen, which is...
not the highest bidder.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, which the Breen has always been built up as this, just militaristic... and from Next Generation onwards, they're the army that every evil world pays to come and fight their wars, that kind of thing.
They're the army in Game of Thrones that fights with the central bank.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So
the mercenaries, as it were.
Yeah. So, but it was very underwhelming. Their introduction of the Breen or going into the Breen background.
Did they actually introduce them?
No, I mean, they went more into their background on it. So.
Have they introduced them?
Yeah, that was done back in Next Generation.
Actually physical.